back home, and one of the big questions being asked as we head into Christmas is, when will interest rates start to drop? Joining me live is Bondi Partners Senior Advisor and former Howard Government Minister Peter McGauran. Peter, morning. Firstly, the national accounts were released on Wednesday. What did they say about the state of the economy and the prospect of interest rates?
Disastrous figures, Tim, and it just confirms that Australia's standard of living is falling. With little hope of increasing in the years to come. There's no action on productivity or on taxation reform, on reduction of business regulation, and so on. So I'm afraid we're now paying the price for inactivity on basic economic reform. And if it weren't for government spending, that tepid growth rate would be even lower. Government spending on schools, defence, social security and so on is the only reason we have any growth rate and have not fallen into recession.
Well, a lot of people just living in Australia and struggling ahead of Christmas, wanting interest rates to drop. The individual in the country that probably wants them to drop the most is the Prime Minister, because it is so linked to political success.
Exactly right, Tim. But interest rates won't drop because of our falling growth rate, because that's not how the Reserve Bank look at it. They're adjusting interest rates and keeping them high because of inflation. In an ideal world, they would reduce interest rates to help spur business investment, but they're not going to do it whilst inflation still remains as high as it does. So there's no relief for the government coming on interest rate. You can say with certainty, Tim, there is no interest rate cut before the next election, and that causes political problems for the Prime Minister, particularly about timing of the election.
Yeah, it is such a difficult one, isn't it? You talk to different economists and different people have such different views on it, but it is looking difficult, isn't it? And we still don't know when that election will be. A lot of people are saying May. There's every chance it could happen earlier. Now, moving on, the nuclear energy inquiry that's been set up by the government, is this a political risk for the coalition given the lack of detail that has been released so far?
I think it's more of a political risk for the government, Tim, because the industry, resource companies, engineering associations, the nuclear advocates, they are going to present information to the parliamentary inquiry. They've been waiting a long time for a forum of this kind. Parallel to that, Peter Dutton has said that the opposition will be releasing their costings, their detailed plans before Christmas. So I just wonder if the government has shot itself in the foot by giving the opposition and the pro-nuclear advocates a forum such as a parliamentary inquiry. I remain puzzled as to the tactics behind such a move.
Now, internationally, the United States, Joe Biden, it's been quite a week for the president. He pardoned his son, Hunter. He fell asleep on the job. What did you think of the pardoning of Hunter Biden?
It's a stain on his legacy, Tim, no question. And the Democrats and his own liberal supporters in the media have turned on him viciously, mostly because he promised in June he would not pardon his son, and even after the election stated he would not pardon Hunter. And so breaking his word seems to have been as big a crime as the actual pardon of a family member, because there are precedents for that. Jimmy Carter pardoned his brother. George Bush, a senior, pardoned a son. Bill Clinton pardoned a half-brother. Donald Trump pardoned his son-in-law's father, and so on. But it's the way the Democrats are meant to be more pure than the Republicans, and the hypocrisy and the deceit, feeding in also into the fact that Joe Biden, the Democrats, hid from everybody his declining capacity. So I'm afraid Joe Biden will be remembered for a very long time for his egregious pardoning of his son.